All right, now let's turn our attention to probably one of the most profound motivational aspects of our being, and that's hunger. If you recall looking at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it falls in that base level, the basic level. And although the stomach's pangs contribute to hunger, variations in body chemistry are really more important. So, example, one of the key hormones that are involved in hunger is a hormone called insulin. And insulin diminishes, basically its impact is that it brings down the blood sugar level or blood glucose level, partly by converting blood glucose to stored fat. And that's not the only one, but it is part of the job that insulin does. And we do not consciously feel this change in blood chemistry. Sometimes you might notice people who, when they're getting hungry, get cranky, and you kind of know when they're hungry or their blood glucose level is dropping. Whoops, not when human, but when hungry. And some people are highly sensitive to that aspect of it. But we don't generally feel this change in blood chemistry. Rather, our body's internal state is monitored by areas deep within the hypothalamus. So the monitoring mechanism in the body itself is deep within the hypothalamus. And what is the hypothalamus? And what you see below is an MRI or a PET scan thalamus that indicates this area lights up when the levels have fallen out of homeostasis. And again, like I said, homeostasis is a key term in our body as well, because as levels drop, then the area in the hypothalamus that's highlighted here triggers the pituitary, that then triggers a number of mechanisms that send signals to the stomach to contract, and we determine or we conclude that essentially we're hungry. The other component part, we refer to this as the arcuate nucleus specifically. And remember, when we're talking about these structures in the brain, they're not actual structures. They're basically these nuclei of neurons which regulate the body's weight as it influences our feelings of hunger and fullness, and so regulates weight. So one task of the hypothalamus is to monitor levels of appetite hormones. And so the key components of these, or the key hormones that we refer to as appetite hormones, one is called ghrelin, and that's G-H-R-E-L-I-N. And it's basically secreted by an empty stomach. So the stomach not only is a receptacle of food, but it also is involved in the mechanism of weight management and fullness and so forth. Other appetite hormones, another one's called leptin. Sometimes you see this in some of the over-the-counter weight loss not medications, but preparations. PYY, PYY, and another one is orexin. And each one of these play their own specific role, although I'm not going to get into all the detail with each one, and in understanding and managing weight and fullness and emptiness in terms of hunger, and play each specific roles, oftentimes complementary to one another. One of the key concepts, another key concept in this whole idea of hunger, is something that researchers have referred to as set point. And you may or may not have ever heard of this. And essentially, they used to believe that we had a biologically fixed kind of point for our weight, and we would not vary from that very much. By optimum weight. And instead, they have moved away from this to something different, which they refer to as a settling point to indicate an environmentally and biologically influenced level at which the weight, at which our weight settles in response to calorie intake, expenditure, metabolic rate, etc. And so instead of set point, it's settling point is the term that oftentimes is referred to. And settling point is kind of, as the name suggests, is where the body weight tends to settle to based on environmental and biological aspects of it. The other key point to understand here is we regulate weight through food intake. One of my trainers that I've used in the past said it really is simple math. You take in less calories and you lose weight. He was a little bit overly simplistic about it in some respects, but really it is that. The other one is energy output, so calorie expenditure. And again, I think most of us understand that if I eat less and I exercise more, then I create a caloric deficit, which allows my body then to shed weight if I'm consistent with it. The last concept here to talk about is something that is referred to as the basal metabolic rate. And the basal metabolic rate is basically the resting rate of energy expenditure. So it basically is how much calories I burn just at a basal rate of resting. So caloric expenditure during resting. And we can generally figure that out by watching what someone's weight does just when they are at a resting rate. We can look at heart rate. We can look at a number of different indices that helps us to understand that a little bit more clearly. But these are the key concepts when we're talking about hunger. And the role that insulin plays. Blood glucose levels are also key. And then the appetite hormones of ghrelin, which actually is secreted by the stomach. So the stomach actually operates as not only the digestive tract, but also secreting its own hormone, and leptin, PYY, orexin, and then the whole idea of set point.